Speaker. And thank you to the gentleman from California, Mr. Dreyer, who has said, and I agree with him, that we can make this bill a better bill if we open up to the amendment process, and certainly agree with my colleague from the great state of Colorado, Mr. Perlmutter, who says that this is not a perfect bill. One provision of this bill gives U.S. taxpayer dollars to the Gaza Strip in the aftermath of the fighting between Israel and Hamas for reconstruction aid. And it does this by giving $119 million to the United Nations. In 2004, Peter Hansen, then Commissioner General of the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, remarked that, "I am sure that there are Hamas members on our payroll, and I don't see that as a crime. Hamas as a political organization does not mean that every member is a militant, and we do not do political vetting and exclude people from one persuasion as against another," unquote. Hamas is a U.S. designated foreign terrorist organization. The United Nations might not consider having Hamas members on their payroll a problem, but it certainly is a problem for the United States and Israel. The supplemental before us provides up to $119 million for United Nations Relief and Works Agency to spend in Hamas-controlled Gaza, which means that Hamas members on the UN payroll will effectively be on the U.S. payroll. I intend to vote against this rule because it does not allow the chance to amend this provision. I filed an amendment that would have instead provided the $119 million for humanitarian relief to go to USAID. The rule before us would bar this amendment from being offered. I appreciate the attempt at additional oversight placed on the UN in this supplemental, but it is simply too little, too late. I wrote to Secretary Clinton.
Mr. Speaker, may I yield to the gentleman an additional 30 seconds?
The gentleman is recognized for an additional 30 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wrote Secretary Clinton in March, along with 21 of my colleagues, noting that there is no way to spend money in Gaza without inappropriately benefiting Hamas. Unfortunately, out of the several ways to spend money that might inappropriately benefit Hamas, we are choosing one of the worst. Mr. Speaker, I would urge a no vote on the previous question, a no vote on the rule.
Gentleman yields back the balance of his time. Gentleman from Colorado.